What's up, everybody? Travis here from Travis.media. Today, we're going to be building an app, a mobile app with Flutter. And I like to call the app Family Clips. So if you watch my previous video, you'll know that this year I'm focusing on building a lot of fun, practical apps. I came to this realization that I learn best by building. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a bunch of apps this year, and this kicks off the series. So if you want to know more about that and my whole philosophy behind that, be sure to watch that video. I'll link to it above. I just posted it last week, but again, the link will be here or here. I forget which side. So I have a lot of fun, practical apps planned for this year, so be sure to hit that subscribe button below and hit the bell to be alerted when new videos are released. So this app stemmed from a fun little experiment I had with my family. I created this mobile app that just had my family as a grid, right? So it was me, my wife, 2 kids and 2 kids. So a 2x3 grid. And what I did was I went back to some old videos and found these funny audio clips of each of them, including myself, and loaded it on the app. So when you click on the picture, it plays a sound clip. So I had like 5 for me, 5 for my wife, 5 for each kid. And we thought it was just funny. We all laughed at it. And I realized, hey, I just started learning Flutter, and this was a big learning experience for me, and I think it'll benefit other people as well. I mean, you learn how to generate random numbers, you'll learn how to play audio clips using the audio library, and you'll learn basic things like rows and columns and the whole material design layout. But there's a little bit of a twist to the app. I'm not big on putting my family on the internet, especially my kids. I feel like when they get older, they may be like, Dad, why did you put all my younger pictures all over the internet? So I'm just not at that point where I like to share my family with the internet. So instead, I substituted us with another well-known family. Well, we're not well-known, but another well-known family called the McCallisters. You know them from a famous Christmas movie. You got Kevin, you got Fuller, you got Buzz, and all of those great people. So anyway, we're going to be building this family clips, but it's going to be with the McCallister family. It's going to be a lot of fun. And what you can get out of it is you can take it and replace these with the members of your family, find some funny clips, load it on your iPhone or your Android, and have a ball with it. So this app was a lot of fun. First, I'm going to show you a little demo of it, and then I'll jump right into the tutorial. All right, so here's the app. Basically, when you click on a family member, it's going to play a clip. So here's Buzz.
I'm gonna play.
That's one clip. Here's another clip.
Don't you know how to knock, Flemwad?
Here's the sister.
You're what the French call les incompetents.
You know that one. Here's Mom. Here's Kevin.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Say goodnight, Kevin.
Good night, Kevin.
Here's Fuller.
Fuller, go
Easy on the Pepsi.
Do you know where the shampoo is, Fuller? I don't live here.
And here's Dad. Mom and Dad have 2 clips, but they're actually the same thing because they just didn't have any good quotable lines.
Do you speak English?
You're what the French call les incompetents.
So it looks like a very simple app. It kind of is a very simple app, but there's a lot more to it. I think you'll learn a ton from it. And it's fun. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new Flutter app. With VS Code, if you have the Flutter extension, so just go to extensions, type in Flutter, and it should be probably the first option. So this Flutter extension, also Awesome Flutter Snippets is really good. And there's also a Dart extension that you should check out. So download those 3. But if you have the Flutter extension, it's really easy to start a new project. Just open the palette and start typing in Flutter, and you can choose New Project. What do we want to call it? I'm just going to call it My App. You can call it whatever you want. Once you hit Return, it asks you where you want to save it. And I'm going to save it on the desktop. So I'm going to choose that. So now it's going to begin creating my Flutter app. So here it says your Flutter project is ready. Great. Now what we want to do is we want to run it. So I'm just going to come up here. The easiest way to do this, just come up here and go to Debug and Run without debugging. And it usually asks you, do you want to use your iOS emulator or your Android emulator? I think I was using the iPhone earlier, so it just shows that by default. You'll see it down here, iPhone 11 Pro Max iOS simulator. So it's launching that, and it's running the app. So our app is up and running, and you'll see it's very basic. It just has this bar at the top, says Flutter Demo Homepage. In the middle, it says you have pushed this button this many times, 0. So press the button. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's the demo Flutter app. That's what you're going to get when you create a new app. So what I'm going to do, I don't want this. We're going to build something different. I'm just going to take this whole class and just all the way to the bottom, erase the whole thing. So now I just have my main function, which runs my app, which doesn't exist. So let's create it. And if you have the Flutter snippets extension I just showed you a minute ago, it's as simple as this. And we're going to create a stateless widget. So let's type in stateless w return, and boom, there it is. Class, I'm going to say my app because that's what it's called up here. And I'm going to delete that because we don't need it. And I'm actually going to return material app, which was the original in the demo and what we want to use for this app. This is where we're going to begin. This is where we're going to begin our app. And if we hit save, we probably get an error. Yeah, we get an error because we don't have anything yet. All right, so we have this material app class. Now with Flutter, so real quick, let me just mention this. If you don't have Flutter or Dart on your computer, I'll put some links below on how you install it all. And these tutorials are not really going to be like an intro to Flutter or anything like that, whatever language I choose for these apps. But it's going to be more sparking ideas and showing you how to put this stuff together. So I'll put some links below for you to install that. But just a quick note, with Flutter, everything is a widget, right? And what you can do is you can look up all of these widgets by typing whatever the name of it is and class in Google. So like material app, I can type in material app class. And right here, I can click on it. I can find out what the material app class is. So it's an application that uses material design. So with all of these widgets that I'm going to use, you can look it up. And when you look it up, it shows you all kind of info about it, like what it is, how it works, and then all of these parameters you can use with it, which we might be using in a minute because, like I said, I'm new to Flutter too. All right, so let's put in home and scaffold. Now, Scaffold is another class, and it allows you to add an app bar and a lot of cool stuff. You can look that up too. Just type in Scaffold class in Google. Let's add that app bar. App bar. And inside this app bar, I'm going to add a title. And of course, not a title, a text widget. And that text widget is going to say, whoops, the McCallister family, of course. So if I hit save now, I shouldn't have that error anymore. I should have an app bar up here that says the McCallister family. Now you can change the color of this or whatever. I'm not, because these tutorials are supposed to be simple. So let's leave the McCallister family. Now let's think about the layout. So basically, I'm going to have 6 family members here. I'm going to have 3 rows, so 1 row, 2 row, 3 rows of 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So let's go ahead and add the body. So right here, I'm going to say body. And I'm going to add what they call a safe area widget. Be sure to look this one up. You're going to be using it a lot. Basically, it keeps the body from sliding into areas where it shouldn't be, like up into the app bar and things like that. It gives it a safe area to work with. Also, what's neat is VS Code, if you see this little yellow squiggly line, if you hover over it, it tells you, hey, the parameter child is required. So what's next? Well, it's going to be the child. Well, what's the child going to be? Well, think about it. We got 3 rows of 2. So this whole thing is going to be a column, and that's a widget too. And in our column, we're going to have children. VS Code tells me, hey, we have a list of widgets. So instead of child, we got children, because we're going to have multiple rows. And so I'm just going to extend that out. And inside this column, I'm going to have what? I'm going to have 3 rows. And that's also going to be widgets. So I'm going to have row, row, and a 3rd row. Now, what do you think is going to be inside these rows? Children, okay? So we're going to have a row of 2, a row of 3, or however many we want. So I'm going to start typing that, and here it is again, children, a list of widgets. So I'm going to type that and extend it out. Let's just work with the first row for now. So what I could do is I could just put like 2 images in here. But there's another widget called expanded. Now let me show you this one real quick. Expanded class. Now what this does is it gives you the power of Flexbox. So a widget that expands a child of a row, column, or flex so that the child fills the available space. So if you look at this, you'll see Flex 2, Flex 1. Basically all it does is it allows you to flex the items in a row. And I like to use that whenever I can in case I decide to do that. For this one, it's just going to be 50-50, but I'm going to use this expanded class anyway. And you can read more about it here. There's lots of cool properties. But basically, I'm just going to type expanded. And if I hover over that, it tells me, hey, you need a child parameter. Cool. Well, what's the child parameter going to be? It's going to be, of course, an image. So image.asset, comma. And that asset, we haven't added yet, so I'm actually just going to do this twice. So expanded, I'm going to add another expanded widget. So I'm going to have 2 images in this row. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's go ahead and add our assets. We're going to add them to we don't have an assets folder. Let me create a new folder called assets. And I'm going to reveal in Finder. And what I'm going to do is I have all of these images and audio clips pre-prepared here. So I'm just going to open that up and drag them all in. So here's the McCallister family. I'm going to open up assets. And just select all of these and let me copy them, not drag them in. So I'm going to paste them in there. And so in our project, if I go to assets, you should see all of that. We got Buzz, we got Dad, Fuller, all these great people. So we have an assets folder. Now we need to tell Flutter, hey, we have this folder that we want you to pay attention to. So down here in the pubspec.yaml, we're going to go down. And by the way, these comments here tell you everything. So if you just read these, you'll know exactly what to do. But I'm just going to come down here to right here. See right here where it says assets, images. We're just going to uncomment that and just add assets. We're going to add the whole folder. So once you do that, you want to save it. And you're going to see that it says Flutter packages get running. So this is going to set up your project with those assets. Great. So let's go back to main.dart and let's add a couple images. So we don't have anything yet. We still have this blank screen, but we need to add these images. So if I go to assets, who do we want to add? Dad. So we have dad.png. We have mom.png. So let's try it. Assets, dad.png. Assets, mom.png. And if I save this, they should pop up here in our app. There they go. Mom and dad at the very top. As we stated, this app, when we click on these pictures, we want it to play some sort of audio. So how do we do that? Well, there's a number of ways we can do that, but one way I like to do that is to wrap this widget with what Flutter calls a flat button. So it's an image, but it has this transparent button over top of it. Let me show you what I mean. And that's actually going to add some padding for us when we do that. So if you come back to the image, so we want this button to lay over top of this image. Now VS Code is really neat because you can just put your cursor over that widget, come over here to this little light bulb, and you get all kind of options. Now what we want to do is we want to wrap this with that flat button widget. So I'm going to click wrap with widget. And I'm going to type in flat button and save. And what that does is that wraps that entire image widget with the flat button widget. So you don't have to go in and be like, where does that parentheses start and where does that parentheses end? You can just add it that quick. Really neat. So we see this yellow squiggly line. I'm going to hover over it and it says the parameter onPressed is required. So we have to have this parameter called onPressed. So when you press the button, what happens? We have to have that. It's required. The quick fix here in VS Code is great. Just hit quick fix and add required argument onPressed, and that adds it for us. Now we want to clean up a little bit here. With VS Code, if you have your commas all in the right place, you can format the document. It look really good. So it looks like all my commas are in place. So I'm going to open this and choose Format Document, and there we go. So as long as you add commas where they're supposed to be, if it doesn't add it for you, it's going to format it nicely. If you forget a comma, it's going to push them together. It'll still format the document, but it basically looks for these commas and formats them there. So great. So we have this button. So if I save it, there shouldn't be any kind of button over top. But there is padding now. I guess the button has padding or something. But anyway, there is padding. So that's good. That kind of fixed that problem for us. But we got to deal with this on pressed. So just to test, I'm going to say, when you press this button, print the button is pressed. Add my comma, actually semicolon. So let me save that. And down here in this debug console, I should see whenever I press this dad image, it should say the button is pressed. The button is pressed button. That tells us it's working. Good. But when we press that button, we want it to play audio. So let's go ahead and fix up mom, and then we'll worry about the audio. So again, I go to image, wrap this with the flat button widget. Hover over that, go down, quick fix, add my onPressed parameter, save it. Whoops. Save it, and let me format it again, make it look nice. And I'm going to do the same thing there. Print, the button is pressed. So now when I open this back up, I should have padding around mom, and I don't like that pressed all the way to the top. But when I click her, it says the same thing. The button is pressed. Great. Let's go ahead and add the other 4 members since we have this thing rolling. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to say everything inside this row. So children all the way. So widget all the way down to this. I'm going to copy it, and I'm just going to paste it in both of these. And save it. Now we should have mom and dad 3 times. Great. But this time I'm going to change it. So we have dad, mom. Then we want to have Buzz and daughter. I don't know what her name was, so I just said daughter. And finally we have Fuller and the star, Kevin. Let me save that. There we go. We have 6 members of the McCallister family now. Now I want to fix this spacing at the top. I don't like these all kind of pressed together up at the top of the app. I want them to be nicely, evenly laid out from top to bottom. So I can come up here to the column widget, and I can say main axis alignment. Main axis alignment, and I want to put space evenly. So if you're used to Flexbox, that's basically what this is, space between, space evenly. This will all make sense to you. Let me save that, and it looks great. Everybody's evenly spaced out. So let's now focus on the audio. So we need to pull in some kind of audio package that allows us to play audio. So if we go to Google, we can type in Dart, or better yet, Flutter packages, and takes you to pub.dev, which is Dart and Flutter packages. I'm going to choose any. And the package I'm going to use is called audioplayers. You can look and find one that you like. It's only a 71, but I've used it before. I'm familiar with it, so I'm going to use it this time too. So I'm going to click on this package, and we're going to install it in our project. So here it tells you how to install. I need to add this to my dependencies. I'm going to copy that and go to pubspec.yaml, find dependencies. Dependencies is there. I'm going to add it under this one. So audio players, save it. As soon as I do that, it's going to go and get the package. See Flutter packages. So that takes care of that. So how do I add it to my project? Well, let's go to installing. So right here in your Dart code, you can import this. So I'm going to up top in my main.dart, I'm going to import that package. But there's more to it actually. So if you go to the README, you'll see, how do we use this thing? So you'll see playing audio. There's 3 possible sources. There's a remote file, a local file on the user's device, or a local asset from your Flutter project. We want this third one. And if you read on here, it says for local assets, you have to use the audio cache class, see below. So let's go down here and find that. Here's our audio cache class. In order to play local assets, you must use this. You can find full documentation for this class here. Now, when you come here, you find out, hey, I actually got to import something different. So if you read this, this import statement is a little bit different. So I'm going to use that instead in main.dart. So instead of audioplayers.dart, it is actually audiocache.dart. And it's, of course, going to update with that. And then I have my example here. Basically, it's just player equals audiocache. You instantiate this class, and then you call play on whatever audio clip you want. That's all it is. So in order to do that, let's go up here to the top. We're going to create a function. It's not returning anything, so we're going to put void, and let's call it play clip. And what do we want it to do? So think about it for a minute. Each one of these clips has two versions. So it's Kevin 1, Kevin 2, Mom 1, Mom 2, Dad 1, Dad 2. Buzz has 3, but we're only going to use 2. So we want it to alternate between clip 1 and clip 2. We could have 5 clips, we could have 10 clips, whatever it is. We probably need to use some sort of random package. So between numbers this and this, randomly pick a number. Dart actually has a random package. You can look it up. I already know what it is. It's basically, we just import dart :math. And so let's go ahead and look this up. Maybe it's helpful. Dart random package. So there's lots of packages here. You just look them up. But this random class, it tells me, hey, a generator of random bool, int, or double values. There's some constructors. Here's some properties. Here's some methods. What we want to use is the nextInt method. So that generates a non-negative random integer uniformly distributed in the range from 0 inclusive to max exclusive. So in short, we can just do this. We could say int number equals random. Since we imported this library, we can use random and dot. And we see the first one is nextInt. That's what we want. The parameter is the max. So we're only going to have 2 clips. So we're going to put 2. So that's going to be numbers 0, 1, and 2. Remember it said 0 was inclusive. So it's going to be 0, 1, and 2. We don't want that. We actually just want 1 and 2. So we're going to add 1 to it. So if it's 0, it's going to be 1. If it's 1, it's going to be 2. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's going to give us a random number, either 1 or 2 each time. Next, I'm going to look back at this audio players package and see what we can do. So final play, let's copy this right here. I'm going to copy that. Air player, instantiates audio class. And player.play, we want this to be the clip of the person that we're clicking on. So as a argument here, I'm going to put name, or better yet, family member. So we're going to pass in the family member name. Let's just do that for clarity. Family member name. And down here, we're going to play, since these are all WAV files, we can actually say family member name, and then we want whatever that number is. So say this family member name is Kevin. We want Kevin 1 or Kevin 2. So family member name, and then we want to add on the number .wave. It's as simple as that. So we need to pass in this family member name. It's going to give us a random number, either 1 or 2. It's going to instantiate this audio cache and then play the family member name number.wave. So Kevin 1, wave, Buzz 2, .wave. Let's try it out. Family member name, let's come down here to somebody like Buzz. So instead of print, we're going to call the play clip function and pass in Buzz as the family member name. And so it should say Buzz either 1 or 2, Buzz 1, Buzz 2, .wave. Put a semicolon and save it. Now let's see what happens. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to click on Buzz. And nothing happened. What's going on here? Oh, you know what it is? Whenever you add assets to your project and when you add packages to your project, you actually should restart the program. Like with any regular code changes, you can just do the hot reload, but you actually need to restart the program. I don't know if this is going to be enough, just clicking this restart button. I may have to stop it and start it back, but let me try that. I forgot all about that. All right, so it restarted. Let's click him now. All right, so it's still messing up. So let me stop the program and restart it completely, and I bet you anything it'll work. All right, so the app is back up. We've reloaded everything. It should now work. I don't know why that is when you add assets and stuff like this, why you have to completely restart the program. If you know, let me know, you Flutter wizards out there. But anyway, this should work. So if I click on Buzz,
Gotta play.
all right, so that's one clip.
Gotta play.
Same clip again. Let's see if we get the different one.
Don't you know how to not flemwad?
Flemwad. All right, so it's playing both clips. And just to be clear on that, let's come up here and say print. Let's print out what wave it's actually playing. Yeah. So here we just played buzz2.wave
Don't you know how to not
and buzz1.wave. I don't know if you can hear that. My mic's probably not picking it up. But anyway, let's go ahead and add audio to the other people. We're going to do the exact same thing. So here where it says daughter, let's say play clip. So I got daughter1 and daughter2.wave. So play clip daughter. And let's just go ahead and get everybody here. Play clip mom. Dad. Fuller and Kevin. Whoops. So now we should be good. We should be able to click on anybody and they play. So here's Fuller.
Do you know where the shampoo is, Fuller? I don't like you.
Fuller, don't you
On the Pepsi. All right, Kevin.
I don't think so.
Say goodnight, Kevin.
Good night, Kevin. I don't think so.
How about the daughter? You know what she's going to say, right?
You're what the French call
Les incompetents.
You're what the French call les incompetents.
Dad. So dad and mom have a dad 1 and dad 2, but it's actually the same clip because I couldn't find anything good that they said. They don't really say a whole lot in the movie compared to the kids.
Do you speak English?
And of course, you got to get her screaming. But anyway, that's it. That's our app in a nutshell. Now you can go in here and add more features if you want, but that's as far as I wanted to take it today. So we learned how to add audio to a Flutter app. We learned how to use the random package. We learned a basic column row expanded setup. Hopefully that was fun. Let me know if you have any questions down below. And as always, consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.